decision to block billions in approved foreign aid has once again placed Donald Trump at the center of political debate. With $4.9 billion in congressionally approved funds suddenly withheld, questions are emerging about why this move was made, what it means for U.S. foreign policy, and how it will affect both allies and rivals around the world. This moment is not just about numbers on a page. It's about power, influence, and the future of America's role on the global stage. Background: what happened? Congress had already signed off on $4.9 billion in foreign aid, funds intended to support international development, humanitarian relief, and strategic partnerships across multiple regions. Typically, once Congress approves funding, the money flows with limited interruption, but Trump stepped in, issuing a block on this aid package. The reasoning, according to his administration, is rooted in America First principles. They argue that taxpayer money should prioritize domestic issues like infrastructure, healthcare, and border security, rather than financing projects abroad. But critics say this move undermines America's credibility. Allies who rely on U.S. aid to stabilize economies, fight poverty, or address security threats are now left in limbo. The scope of the aid blocked. So where exactly was this $4.9 billion supposed to go? The aid package included humanitarian assistance for regions facing famine, displacement, and refugee crises, health programs aimed at combating infectious diseases, and strengthening medical infrastructure in developing nations, economic support to countries seen as strategically important for U.S. interests, military and security funding to partners working with Washington to counter terrorism and instability. By cutting this aid, the Trump administration has halted programs that were designed to both save lives and expand America's influence. Political motivations blocking aid is not just a financial decision, it's a political one. Trump has long criticized what he sees as wasteful spending abroad. He argues that the U.S. has been exploited by allies who take American dollars but give little in return. This stance resonates with many of his supporters, who believe foreign aid often goes unaccounted for and benefits corrupt governments more than struggling people. To them, blocking billions in aid is a sign that Trump is protecting taxpayers. But opponents argue the opposite. They say foreign aid is not charity, it's strategy. By investing abroad, the U.S. strengthens its influence, counters rival powers like China and Russia, and prevents crises from escalating into global threats. Reactions at home and abroad. The reaction has been immediate and polarized. In Washington, Democratic lawmakers have condemned the decision, calling it an overreach of executive power and a direct attack on programs already approved through the legislative process. They argue that the president is sidestepping constitutional checks and balances by unilaterally blocking funds. Internationally, allies are nervous. Nations dependent on U.S. assistance for stability and development now face uncertainty. Aid organizations warn that projects will stall, lives will be lost, and America's reputation as a reliable partner will be damaged. Meanwhile, adversaries see an opening. With U.S. funding pulled back, countries like China may step in to fill the gap, offering financial support with fewer conditions, and potentially shifting alliances in their favor. The broader implications. This decision is bigger than a single aid package. It reflects a broader shift in U.S. foreign policy under Trump, one that prioritizes short-term domestic optics over long-term global strategy. Foreign aid has historically been one of America's most effective tools of diplomacy. It buys goodwill, creates allies, and helps stabilize volatile regions before they spiral into crises. Cutting it risks weakening U.S. influence at a time when global competition is intensifying. At home, it also raises a constitutional question. How much power should the president have over funds that Congress has already approved? The battle over this $4.9 billion could spark legal challenges that reshape the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches. What comes next? The future of this blocked aid remains uncertain. Congress may push back, potentially suing or passing new legislation to force the funds to be released. Aid organizations will lobby heavily, warning of humanitarian consequences, and foreign governments will wait to see whether this is a temporary delay or a permanent shift in U.S. policy. For Trump, this move fits neatly into his larger political brand: strong, unilateral, and unapologetically focused on America first. Whether it's popular at home may depend on whether Americans see foreign aid as a vital investment or a wasteful giveaway. Conclusion: the blocking of $4.9 billion in approved foreign aid is not just a budgetary decision, it's a statement. It speaks to Trump's vision of America's place in the world, his battle with Congress, and his willingness to challenge long-standing norms of U.S. foreign policy. For allies, it raises doubts. For adversaries, it creates opportunities. And for Americans, it sparks a larger debate about what role the United States should play in the 21st century: global leader or fortress nation. One thing is clear: this decision will not only shape foreign policy headlines today, but also ripple across international relations for years to come.